This is Migration Gist. My name is Maria Ocheja Ebo. Welcome to the very first episode of the very first season of this show. Yes, you heard it. This show. Listen, I don't want to waste your time with too much introduction, but like you know, at Migration Gist, I encourage you to the change that you deserve. You can call me your travel consultant, your travel researcher, or your travel expert, because the degree of research I do, honey, you can get it anywhere. So let's go to the very first segment of this gist. This week, we would be wishing Marshall Islands and Poland, the country Poland, a very happy Constitution Day. The 1st of May marks that of Marshall Island, and the 3rd of May marks that of Poland. And if you're just like me, I was wondering, why would they have, because if you watched my very first introduction, I'm Nigerian, and I'm like, why don't they have like an Independence Day, just like every other place? If you haven't watched my episode 000, please go back and watch my episode 000. So some countries have flag days, some have Constitution days, some have Freedom days, some have Independence days. So Poland and Marshall Islands have Constitution days. And to be honest, before I started doing this compilation and before this idea popped up, I had never heard of Marshall Islands before. Of course, I had heard of Poland. I knew Poland was in Europe. So I'm like, hey, these are places I'd like to travel to someday. And when I did my research on Marshall Islands, it was very encouraging to see that Marshall Islands was in between. They say it's west of the Pacific Ocean. It's also in between Hawaii and Australia. And it's somewhere in what they call the international date line. I've never heard that before. Research is such a good thing. So there is that, and that's the Marshall Islands. And so if you are from Marshall Islands, happy Constitution Day. I wish I knew how to speak the language. We will put a link in our description box where you can learn more about the island and possibly travel there with the airline that here on Migration Gist we consider is the best. We won't tell you just yet until further notice. Now, to Poland, I wish Poland also a very happy Constitution Day. When I was finding out facts about Poland, two things stuck out to me. Was the fact that they had the largest salt mine in Europe. I think it's also in the world, not certain about B, but A, I'm certain that Poland has the highest salt, the largest salt mine in the world. And then two other things that interested me about Poland was that on their Independence/Constitution days, everybody lights a candle, on their window pane or just sitting on their window just to mark that day. And I just think that's a beautiful culture. The third thing that I think was outstanding for me with Poland was the fact that Poland is argued to be the birthplace of vodka. And I heard that if Russians hear this, they would cut off my neck. Please, it's based on research. The link to the research will be in our description box. Anyways, welcome, and let's step into the main gist for today. Again, I'm Maria Ocheja Ebo. Thank you for joining me. So, on today's first episode, this first season, our topic for today is missing home. You see, like I told many of you guys in my episode 000, which was the official introductory episode of this channel, I am an immigrant who came into the United States to marry my man. At the time, it was on the K1 fiancé visa, and I did tell you guys that we're going to be having a segment on this show titled A to Z visas, where we would bring in an attorney at law that is an immigration specialist. We're going to bring them in per time, and they will be dissecting the questions that you have. But I digress. So I came here on a K1 visa to marry my man at the time, We did all of that good stuff, and that's how I landed in the US. He saw me, he's like, who is in the garden? It was me, a pretty fine girl, and he's like, I want this girl, and he married me. That's the summary of my story. If you've not watched episode 000, please go back there and watch it. The lighting of that episode is not too great, and many other things were wrong with that, but baby steps, migrants, baby steps. Now, so let's go to the top 10 things that I believe, anyways, is on my list of top 10 things why I miss home. You see, when you're moving, when you're an immigrant, an expatriate, of which immigrants versus expatriates, I've always wanted to ask, why is it that when Black people move from Africa to other places, we are called immigrants, but when Caucasian race moves from America to Nigeria, for example, they are called expatriates? I know why, but even the ones that are not traveling outside of America, for example, to work, are also called expatriates, but that's a dialogue for another day. But for today, let's go through the top 10 things that I miss, that I believe you may miss too if you're an immigrant like me, whether you're moving from one continent to another or another continent to the next. Let's go. On number 10, I have number 10 and number 1 are the same, but let's start from number 10. For number 10 on my list, I have family and good friends. The saying goes that you don't choose your family, right? Yeah, so that's why I said that. Family and a few good friends. I missed a lot of my friends, of course, leaving, where I grew up, where I had been all my life, just moving to a totally different continent, that if my family would have to see me, especially for the ones that were not in the same geographical zone or location as me, they would have to book way ahead of time. They would have to buy flight tickets, like consider it 6 up to a year time to come see me, or things like that. So I miss my family, and like I said, a few good friends. On number 9, I have food. Yes, food, some food. Now, if you grew up in Nigeria, so for those of you that, I know I've had, an accent on from the beginning, but for some of you that are from Nigeria, honey, or you're from, any part of Africa, how you're just going to see Akara woman just by the street. You are driving home, or it's corn and ube season. For the people that know me, honey, I love me my corn and ube. You're driving home after work, the corn is just sitting down there, just being smoked fresh, you just go there, you bring out your money from your purse, buy you a corn and ube. They call it African pear, but I miss food. I miss original food. Like, they don't use any NPK. I don't have to struggle. Is it GMO, non-GMO, of which that food, listen, if you're an immigrant, some medical practitioners will tell you your body's system would never function the same way it was before you came into the country. Honey, I don't even want to go into all of that. But I can tell you for free, honey, I can gist you for free that you're definitely going to miss the food. I miss the food every day, every blessed day. Like, I miss the food, the originality in the watermelon, in the different species of mangoes. Like, oh my God, I don't want to break out a tear today. So that's what I have on number 9. The food, the vegetables, the spinach actually looks like what Popeye eats versus what is natural and grown in Africa. If you know, you know. Let's go to number 8. Another thing I miss is growing apart from people. I know at number 10 I said that you would miss your family and friends, but let's face it, guys, if you're migrating, you're moving into a different geographical location, you're moving into a different culture, a different mode, way, and plan of life, or whatever you want to call it. So you will miss home. You're literally abandoning. I don't want to use the word abandoning, but that's technically what you're doing. It's like it's an emotional, psychological shot. You know what's the name of that animal by the seashore that clamps its shell? Like, that's just what you're doing. And there's that physical separation I'm very sure that a lot of migrants that are watching this, it doesn't matter if you're coming, it does not matter the continent you're coming from. People have moved here and have had mental breakdowns. People have had psychological, breakdowns, physiological, emotional, like I don't even know what to call it. It's masked under different names, but people have moved from, Nigeria, any part of Africa at all, Asia, any part of Asia, North America, anywhere, moved, across, and then there's a way that you break down and cry, because when I moved here, I was already in my late 20s, and there were days I would break down and weep. And I'll be talking to my mom, and my mom is like, oh, my child, like, what's wrong with you? Is your husband beating you? I'm like, no, mommy. Oh, is this happening? No. I'll just start crying. No, mommy, I just miss you. My mom was confused, because for our parents, especially for those of us that are first generation, maybe Asian or African, your parents will move from maybe one city to another. Maybe it's like moving from maybe Florida to, Texas, which I can't quite compare because the geographies are really distinct and very different. But my mom or my parents moving from Ida, Kogi State to Kano was not really a big deal, because then Nigeria was a lot safer than what it is today. So, you can just get up anytime and not move back, but like go and visit, like they would go and visit my grandparents at the time. It was not such a big deal. But, excuse me, with, this one is really different. So you would unwillingly grow apart, is what I'm trying to say. Let's go to number 7. Number 7, you are going to miss your nosy neighbor. You're going to miss that woman in your church. When if you wear mini skirt, she'll say, my daughter, this skirt is too short. Because guess what, honey? If you're moving to a place like America, nobody gives a damn. If you like, wear thongs to church. Peace of the Lord be with you. People will shake you. Peace of the Lord be with you. People are gonna hug you. Nobody cares. So that sense of community dies and dies out. But you would have to find your own people. You just have to find your own, whether it's via networking, whether it's via, oh, we're from the same village. You would have to kind of rework to find your own community. Meanwhile, in your home country, they say it takes a village. Like that village already just surrounds you, and you just grow up with it. With moving to a new geography, a new location, it's really different. And with missing communities, another thing I realized, so I grew up Catholic. The Catholic Church, the Catholic community in Nigeria, in my home country, is largely different from, my migrated to Catholic Church. The Catholic Church where I go right now is largely Hispanic and English. So if you're not of Hispanic descent, or you're not of a particular Caucasian descent, you know how when you go for morning mass, maybe when it's time to sing, I don't know, I know there are different hymns. There's communion hymn, there's offering, there's entrance, there's the one where mass ends. You will no longer be hearing your oh Tito Diri Chineke, all those things. Mimo, Oluwa, like all those folklore style African hymns. Oh my God, I miss them so much. That is a sense of community that I miss. Now let's go to number 6. I miss being straight jacketed. I miss being straight jacketed. What does that mean? I miss being straight jacketed. Oh, I may say it. What does it mean? Oh God. When I was living in my parents' house, I was just a daughter. I could help around the house, yes. When I was in my parents' house, me and my girls would just hang out. I didn't have to hurry back home to go and fold the laundry, or to make sure that the shoes that I washed, that I kept on the balcony, no. There was always somebody to help me. My parents had their own driver. So if it was not convenient for me to use a drop-off service like any, car car ride share service or whatever, I could always, oh daddy, are you going out with your driver? Can you take me here? Oh mommy, are you going out with your driver? It was so simple. But these days, I feel like Superman, Spider-Man. I don't know. I feel because I'm somebody's wife, I'm in the cook, I'm the cleaner, the folder of laundry, the ironer of things. I straighten everything out. I have to make sure I'm the mechanic. I have to make sure the car is okay. When my fuel is down, I have to make sure I go to the gas station and I pull out the pump, I put it in the car and I fill it by myself because there's nobody that's going to help my ass do anything. I do everything by myself. And then I feel like the people that have children are ultra super. Talking about folding of clothes, if you guys look to the side, you see some laundry that is like hipped is almost falling over. Guy, I have everything to myself. Then for people that have children that are now going to school, like they have to be mom, they have to teach their kids, they have to teach themselves, then they now have a job that is 9 to 5, they have to do that job. 9 to 5, they have to, listen, we have an episode titled Messiah Mentality, and we're going to talk more about being straight-jacketed. I miss being straight-jacketed. You say what? I miss being straight-jacketed. Because when I was at home, in my father's house, we even had so many helps, I can't even put up like with their names. Oh, Comfort, please help me take my clothes to the person that helps us iron clothes so that he will iron it. Wait there. When he's done, please help me bring it inside. Can't you see I'm coming to America? Nobody to help me do anything. Migrant, I miss being straight-jacketed. What? Let's go to number 5. At number 5, I would say I miss the non-racism, non-colorism, non-stereotypes that I enjoyed in my home country. It's not to say that people are not colorists. I mean, there are times that I've heard people, older people, except for now that things are becoming more, the knowledge is spreading. I've heard somebody say, oh, I don't want so and so person to work for me, they are too dark skinned. I mean, I've heard that in Nigeria. I've heard lazy comments like that. I don't want this person, they are too black. Why would they, I've heard all those dirty comments. And what's surprising is that people that make those kinds of comments in Nigeria would come here and be fighting Black Lives Matter. You are sick. But let's not go in there today. I know, I'm a lot. So for number 5, number 5. So what I miss really about this non-racism, non-colorism, non-stereotype thing is when I moved to America, I noticed that I can't just do things just because I love to do them. It's always about color. And I'll give you migrants instances. So there was this time it was raining outside and there's this guy with this heavy Jamaican or maybe Icelandic, is he Icelandic? Island, like that whole area accent, you know how they have this Patois diction style accent, and he was bringing in furniture for like someone who was our neighbor at the time in the apartment that we live, and he was bringing in furniture and I was skipping. For people that know me, I love high intensity interval workout, I love to run, I love skipping, I'm not heavy on metals, but I just love running and all those things. So I was skipping right in the hall, not in the hallway, but it was like a cubicle just at the side of the hallway, and this guy just goes in his Patois accent, "Hey man, you see this girl trying to be white?" I said, "Trying to be white?" Because I'm skipping. I didn't pay too much attention to it, but later, like when my husband came back, I chatted with him about it. I was like, oh, look at what this person said. He's like, oh, don't mind them, Joe, they're just ignorant. There are times that I'll have conversations with people and we'll just talk, excuse me. and we'll just talk it, especially if it's of a particular, maybe if they are Hispanic and let's say Indian or Pakistani people there, and then I'll just say something and then they'll just go, oh, that's a white thing to do, you know. Sometimes in some, and by God's grace I no longer hang around those groups, I find it very sad that maybe when you push yourself to do better, or maybe you, for example, let me even give an example. Let's say a Japanese person or somebody that is, I don't know, just from any other race likes fried chicken. You hear people say, oh, how can a Japanese person like fried chicken so much? So it's like everything, down to the food you eat, down to how you dress, down to, you know, the course you want to study in school, whether it's a graduate course, whether it's, you know, you would hear people say things like, oh, it's very white. Why do you want to do something that is that white? And I'm like, so I cannot just like something because of I am a human being. I have to like something because of the color of my skin. Don't get it twisted, migrants. I'm not saying that will be your faith. I'm just sharing my story with you so that like you can share in my reality, and it will prepare your expectation, especially if you're planning to move to the United States of America, the most powerful country in this world. But that's not what we're here to discuss. So that I miss, and like I said, that's at my number 5. I'm not at peace with the myths and misconceptions that if you come to America from your country, I don't even care where it is, it can be maybe, I don't know, it can be Canada, it can be anywhere. Just the idea that every immigrant comes here to look for green pastures. Honey, I'll be damned if I didn't come here to look for green pastures. But I mean, I'm just saying, for other migrants, okay, that were billionaires from their country, it's not every immigrant that comes into the United States or, you know, that goes into another developed economy that is looking for green pastures. Some people just find peace in that environment. But like I said, I'll be damned. Girl, that's a story for another day. But not girl, migrants, sorry, I'm just being silly. But just the misconception that everybody comes into some place just for green pastures. Honey, it's not everybody. Some of us came here, like I said, I came here on a K1 visa. I came to marry, yeah. Some other people come here for education. Some people, when they're done with their education, they go back to their country because they feel like America ain't it. So it's everybody, my point. On to number 3, missing home. On my top 10 countdown, number 3, I miss artisans. Read my lips. Artisans. I miss them all. You see my hair, because I know some of you have finished judging me. Why did she leave her hair like this? A married woman. Why is her hair like this? Nobody asked you. We're doing top 10 countdown. Listen. On to number 3, I miss artisans. You know how when your toilet is leaking, Peter, are you there? Please, the sink you did 5 years ago is leaking again. No, come check am. Come and check it. Peter will leave all this. Yeah, madam, no worry, I will come today by 4. Yeah, he can post you, he'll come tomorrow, but you know that he's going to come. And maybe at best, you just pay for his, you know, you pay for his transportation. When he comes, you give him 1 plate of rice. Like, it's not such a big deal. For those of you that have seen this advert, or you can go on YouTube, it goes like this. Call my own service, who fix it in a flash. The advert says, the ad, right? It says you should call the name of the service. They will fix it in a flash. But that fixing it in a flash, what they really mean is that when you pick up your phone to call them, for them to come from where they are coming from, you first of all put money down. That money can be maybe anything and they call it money for inspection. It can be anything between $100 to $100 and let's say $90, right? To $200, $300. When they come, then to now inspect it and now diagnose what's wrong with that your thing, It's another money. When they now see what's wrong with that your thing, before they now go to the market and now buy the thing and now come and replace, another money. You are going to miss artisans. You see that your hair, the reason why my hair is like this, before, Dubai, I'm coming tomorrow by 8 to make my hair. Yes, auntie, you can come, you can come. My darling, Dubai in the United States has websites. And that her website, if you go on there, she's booked from now till next month. And so you have to book it on her calendar. Then there's a booking fee. Booking fee can be anything from $20 to $50. If you're in a country like Nigeria, I'm sorry, Nigeria is the low-hanging fruit. I have to pick on Nigeria, sleeping giants of Africa. You now pay between $20 to $50. That's just booking. Then before you now go and make the hair, sometimes you just be like, oh, let my hair breathe. My hair is not a sin. It's not every time you'll be twisting hair like a goat. Sometimes let your hair breathe. So that's why my hair is like this. I miss all my hair braiders. I miss them. Yes, I miss them because I can't just get up. Or sometimes my dad will be like, I don't want you people going out to make your hair. Let them come to the house. You want to do home service. You are Michelle Obama. Okay, you may have the money, but my point is they're very expensive and it's not as convenient as it is, right? When you're back home or like, in your home country, to just get them to your house to make your hair and you just relax there and you just, let me go out for ice cream. Just wait for me. It's 15 minutes. Okay, I'll come back. But here, their time is truly money. The value of the dollar weighs heavy on artisan production, no matter what it is. So at number 3, of course, I miss artisans. Whether you call them house helps, house girl, hair braider, hair maker, braids woman, akara woman, plumber, mechanic, because here they are actually expensive. They are not expensive to say they are not affordable. I'm saying compared to where I'm coming from, they are not an easy catch. And if you have a good one, you have to pamper and treat them well. And please, I know some people will start saying, oh, so you're not treating the ones in Nigeria well. No, we're treating them well. But I'm just saying here, because the demand for them is super duper high and it's super duper cher. Il est très cher. Is expensive for you to get them here. You will have to, appreciate them more. It's not an easy fit to get artisans here, period. Even like your balloon decorator, your event planner, is not an easy fit, my darlings, my migrants. It's not. Let's go to number 2. On the top 10 things that I miss or that you may miss when you leave your country. Number 2 is joints. Let me say it in Nigerian English, joints. Have you ever seen the marriage between fish and Feroz? Please, the brand Feroz, don't kill me for mentioning your drink, but when I used to go to joints that time with the man I've now married, you get it? When I used to go to, my husband knew joints, or he knew friends of friends that knew joints. It was something about joints. And that fish that was as tall as my brother Christopher. Oh, if you see the fish had body like my husband Tony and was as tall as my brother Christopher. They will bring this fish like this with potato and plantain, and then a bottle of Feroz will just come with the fish. See, I loved it. I'm sorry, I can't lie. It was pleasurable, it was nice. When I came here, somebody would say, oh, there's this woman somewhere that sells fish. I went there. Migrants, the fish was not as good as the one in my home country. Oh, the fish was not as nice as the fish in my home country. Forget it. It wasn't giving. If I start painting the picture, people will be traveling from Japan to go and eat the fish and Feroz. But listen, migrants, these are the top 9 things that I miss. And then the number 1 thing, of course, that I miss, which I did not want to get to this part. I really did not want to at all. And this part is just very difficult. Number one part of the top 10 things that I miss. Number one is definitely I miss Mrs. Alolo Priscilla Ocheja Nejibrin, my mother, in whom my soul is always well pleased. I recall just, growing up and the period I had the gap year before I entered the university, and when I'll be back home, because most of my older siblings were out of the house anyways. So it was just my younger sister. I remember how we would go everywhere with my mom, MTN office for morning mass, because my mom loved attending morning mass. So we would go everywhere with her, and her sense of humor was just, because she for people that know her, she was very calm, very quiet. Her sense of humor was just out of this world, just very funny. Before I finally went off to college, university, and then she was just with my younger sister. We went practically everywhere together. I remember a red Honda Civic, her black Camry, like we went everywhere together. We enjoyed the heat and the rains together. We bought the corns together, like she was my girlfriend. We were just, it was, I don't want to go into any details, but that's number one topmost person that I will forever miss in this life. A card that I felt that life has dealt with me unfairly, but at the same time I know that God makes no mistakes, and that my mother is definitely in the bosom of God. And with that I say, attention migrants, this again is Migration Gist. I remain Maria Ocheja Ebo. Same time next week, we will be uploading our second episode. If you enjoyed this gist, share it with your friends. Do well to follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter, now called X. Like I said, like, share, please comment, follow, and subscribe. We will be here again next week. If you have messages that you would like to send to us, of course, you can continue the conversation on our social media handles. You can also send us direct messages. The email address would be somewhere on the screen. Please make sure you copy it. It would also be in the description tab. Please make sure you copy it and you send us your emails, your messages. We are very glad and excited to read them all. Do not hold back. Please send us all the messages. It's infomygist@stalolollc.com. Please send us your messages and I promise you, you would get a response. We have very exciting things coming up on this project, on this channel. It's called APOS, that's the Alolo Priscilla Ocheja Scholarship, where you will be playing games and you'll be walking away with cash prizes. Watch out for that, because you need to fill out a Google form to fulfill that scholarship. Thank you for joining me today. I've had fun and I've had a great time gisting with all of you migrants. Do not forget to relocate to the change that you deserve. Thank you for joining me, Maria Ocheja Ebo. See you next time. Bye-bye.